Hiya. Right, it came to my attention that a wee back in May I done a video on it was kind of like how to pass your driving test, but I only done the kind of theory part there, and I said I'll make a video soon. My next video will be the one saying how to pass your driving test first time, blah 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 blah. Anyway, obviously nobody can make a video and like absolutely 100% tell you how you're going to pass your driving test first time, unless like it's a driving instructor that does the tests and like he knows what he's looking for. Whereas I'm just like me and I don't have a clue what driving instructors are looking for. I'm just like going to say some tips that helped me pass my driving test first time. So yes, I'll just get started and tell you. So the first thing is obviously to do driving lessons, because you can't, I don't think you're allowed to do a driving test, I'm not entirely sure, unless you've done driving lessons first, but I wouldn't advise just going straight in and doing a driving test, because when I done mine in December it cost me £63, and if I was going to pay £63 and I hadn't had any lessons before that, I would have been absolutely raging with paying that £63 not passing. So definitely don't waste your money. Get some lessons first and make sure you go with a driving instructor that you feel comfortable with, and don't go for like one that's, obviously if you go for a driving instructor and they're really cheap, it doesn't mean that they're going to be a bad driving instructor. Just like if you go with if you go with a driving instructor that charges like £25 an hour, or if you go with a driving instructor that charges £12 an hour, it doesn't mean that the £12 an hour driving instructor is going to be like really boring and not teach you as much as £25 one. It's just like buying 2 blocks of cheese really, isn't it? They're both the same, they're just different prices. So yeah, that's the first thing. Don't let like the pricing put you off. If somebody recommends a driving instructor to you and you trust them, then I would go with that. What I done was I just like kind of looked up on Google driving instructors in my area, because I didn't want to go with a driving instructor from like the AA or anything like that, or any is it like a big company. I didn't want to go with one like that. So I looked up Googled like driving instructors in blank, whatever your area is, and I got a driving instructor. I looked at his pricing and that, and my driving instructor I'd say was pretty reasonable, pretty reasonable priced. And I phoned him up, my mum phoned him up, and he just like kind of told us what I'd need and stuff like that, like what kind of, to wear flat shoes, I need my provisional driving card, and that was all I took out with me in my first lesson. And on my first lesson he drove me to a quiet area of where I live, and he just let me, he like explained everything in the car to me, from like, because I had never drove in my life before, and like my mum and dad don't drive, so I'd never been in a car. I had been in a car, like I've been in taxis, mum's friends' cars and my friends' cars, but like I hadn't grown up watching somebody else drive, so I didn't know like basic stuff. So he just talked me over everything, like like the brake, the accelerator, the clutch, how to work the air vents, how to lock the car, how to start the car, how to wear a seatbelt, all that kind of stuff. Like I already knew it, but he still talked to me over it. And then I took about 20-25 minutes and we just drove round and round in a circle, and he made me move from first gear to second gear, and I was honestly like, oh my god, I'm never going to get the hang of this. And then like when we were halfway, it was like a long street, when we were halfway up he was like, right, try and go to third, and I was like trying to get to third gear and I couldn't do it. So he was like, right, that's fine, just move from first to second, because that's obviously easy, first gear and second gear, so it's just like a straight line. So he said that's fine, just do that, first to second. And then that was that, and eventually I started to build up my confidence, and it took me out onto the main roads. And the first day he actually done that and took me like just before a set of traffic lights, and he stopped and he explained everything to me, and then he was like, right, just drive on the main road, and I was like really nervous, but I done it and I'm still alive. And don't let like something, like if you accidentally hit something, don't hit somebody. Like obviously your driving instructor's not going to let you pure knock somebody down and kill them, but like if you knock over a bin or something, like don't be scared about it, as long as you don't do any damage to your car or the driving instructor's car. When I was in my lesson, there was a bin lorry in front of me and I had to come out a bit, but I couldn't see if there was any cars coming, so silly me went forward and then looked and tried to go, but there was a Jeep coming, so I had to stop. And when I was going forward, I went too close to like the wheelie bin, not the wheelie bin, the bin lorry's kind of like back end bit. It's like a plastic rubber kind of bit, and it knocked the side mirror in. But you know, I was quite nervous about that. I was like but my driving instructor was like, it's fine, don't worry, put the mirror back out, continue driving if it's safe. And I continued driving. Also, there was one time when I was down, he took me down to Byers Road and I was going to turn left at like a junction and a car came round, but this was like quite a narrow bit, so I was sitting like this to turn left and the back end of the car was kind of like that, and this car came round and scratched all along the side of my driving instructor's car, which really wasn't my fault because I'm sitting there, so you know, you can't blame something that is sitting still. He was moving and I was still, so it was this guy's problem. He should have like noticed that there wasn't enough space to get past. So yeah, I didn't let that faze me or anything, and my driving instructor was like, do you want me to drive like on? Like my driving instructor sorted it all out, but he was like, do you want me to drive on or anything? And I was like, no, it's fine. So I just kept driving after that. Like I didn't let that kind of faze me or anything. Right, anyway, I'm pure rambling on, so I'm going to get to the test kind of part. On your test day, when you're booking it, before your test day, when you book it, do not tell anybody. Tell your driving instructor and that's it. Don't tell like your family, your friends, your mum, your dad, grands, brothers, sisters, because when you do that you put far too much pressure on yourself, because when you're on your test you're like, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to pass first time, I've got to pass second time, I've got to pass fifth time, I've got to pass eighth time, I've told my friends and family 8 times now. But if you just go first time, you're like, nobody's going to know. Fail, I fail. You fail, it's fine, nobody knows, who cares? Well, you know, you've got to pay money each time, but you're not pressurising yourself, so only you and your driving instructor need to know. So don't tell anybody. That's my tip number 1. Nobody knows. Tip number 2 is look over your road signs and everything. Like, know what signs mean. Like if something says a no right turn and in your driving test do a right turn, I'm not sure what would happen, but I don't think they'd fail you for that, would they? Not too sure, maybe get a minor for it. But I passed my test with 3 minors. On my test I actually drove perfect, but what I done was he said to me to like just, he gave me directions on where to drive and stuff, and then we got to this kind of bit in Glasgow and he said, right, I want you to drive to, no, follow the signs to Dumbarton. He said, I want you to follow them, he says, and I will tell you when to stop following the signs and tell you like when this bit's over, because it's something to do like individual driving or something. No, it's not individual driving, can't remember what it's called, but it's just like a 10-minute kind of bit where you drive by yourself, independent driving. You drive by yourself without telling you, without like the driving instructor saying, right, turn left, turn right, blah blah blah, straight ahead, go left at the roundabout, all that. You do it yourself by looking at signs. So he says to me, follow the signs for Dumbarton. So I done that fine, and then we got into this street, and I'd done a turn in the road in this street plenty of times, so he says to me to do a turn in the road. I can't remember the exact words he used, but it was a turn in the road anyway. So I said okay, so I done everything perfect, but when I got when I came from this side and I got round, so I was facing this way, the road kind of goes down like that. So when I was here sitting in the mid, like this is the middle of the road, right, so my car's here, I was like sitting in the middle of the road and the car kept going forward and I was like, oh my god, I didn't want it to hit the curb because obviously like I thought you failed if you done that, but it's actually if you go up onto the curb you'll fail. So I was like, oh, and I actually sat there for like 5 minutes and I just thought to myself, right, and just calm, just breathe. And I was like, I've totally failed this test just because of this one thing. And there was like cars at this side waiting for me to go and cars at this side. So I thought, right, just stay calm, tell them to go and just breathe. So I thought, right, okay, it's all clear, I can start again. So I just took a deep breath and I thought, right, I've done this hundreds of times, I'm going to do it. And first back, looking round about me, checking my mirrors, and drove off. And he says to me, right, okay, turn left, turn right. And when I turned right, I thought, that's my driving instructor. I was like, And he's like, right, that's the end of your test, Dan. And I was like, huh? 40 minutes flew by like that. Like literally, I was only in the car and back out. It was so fast. And he said to me, I was like, oh, thinking to myself, totally failed this. And he was like, is this your first time? And I was like, yep. And he was like, oh well, I'm pleased to tell you've passed. And I was actually so absolutely gobsmacked. I was like, got 3 minors. One was for when I was stopping at traffic lights. I'd never done this in my, like when I was out on driving, like lessons with my driving instructor, so I don't know why I done it in my test, but like the cars were stopped at traffic lights and I would be like that far away from them, whereas like I could probably have rolled up to like behind them, but I stayed like back a bit, so I got a minor for that. The other minor was for, what was my other minor for? Can't remember what my other 2 minors were, but they weren't like major things. That's going to bug me. Another thing he'd done before I started driving was he took took my eyesight. He made sure that I could see. I can't remember, I think it was 10 feet or something. So he just said to me, right, just read that number plate. The sun was actually shining in the number plate, and I was like, and I couldn't see it, and I was like, saying it, and he was like, no, say it again. And I'm like, I think he probably understood because like the sun was shining on it. But I got it right the second time, and my eyesight is like perfect. But when you're nervous, you're just like, so yeah, does that, and then like he takes you around the car, and you have to do 2 show me tell me's. I think one of them was he asked me about the steering wheel, and the other one was something to do with tyre pressure. So that was them 2, and 40 minutes just flew by like that. What I recommend is that you take a deep breath if you're ever in like a panicky situation in your driving test. Just don't forget to breathe. I think like what most people do when they're in a panic, or especially if you're on a test and it's just you and this other person, you're like, oh, they're watching me, oh my god. And then when that happens, you forget what's going on, so you think, right, just start again. And then like you go and there's a queue of traffic there and you've not looked, and then that would make you fail because you're going to go and you've not looked. So what you need to do is just look about yourself, just stay calm, take a deep breath, look at either side of you, check your mirrors, check your blind spots, then go with the deep breath and let them know that you're going to be safe in the roads. Like obviously if your driving instructor's putting you in your test, he's not going to put you in your test if he thinks that you're going to fail. Have faith in yourself and have faith in your driving instructor, and you will get there. Like people just make silly little mistakes, so my biggest tip is breathe, 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 breathe. Don't forget to breathe. What else? Breathing and paying attention. Just do exactly what you've done in your driving lessons. Look in all your mirrors, check your blind spots and everything before you move off. You're allowed up to 15 minors anyway, which is quite a lot of stuff that you're allowed. So, you know, don't panic, and you've just got to remember to stay calm. And driving instructors understand anyway. Like, they take, I don't know how many people out a day, every day. So they'll understand that everyone's nervous. So I'm sure they put that into thought. And you've got your sign-up saying you're still a learner. So nobody's going to be like really horrible and like, oh, beep, 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 get out my way. And if they are, just think, so yeah, that's my tips. Deep breaths, check your mirrors, check round about you, and really you can't go wrong, I don't think. Just, how can you go wrong? If you know how to do all your manoeuvres, you're looking in your mirrors, you take deep breaths, stay calm. If it makes you nervous thinking that the guy there is watching everything you're doing, just kid on that you've actually passed your test and you are a taxi driver and he's giving you directions to the house that you're going to. So, you know, that's quite a good idea. Like, then you don't have to feel like he's watching you. He's sitting doing his homework and he's like, yep, just turn left down this street and that'll take you here. Turn right. But yeah. Oh, and another thing, the driving instructors, no, the driving test guys aren't actually allowed to drive the car. You're only allowed to drive the car. So like if you totally freak out and have a fit, he's not allowed to drive it. And you'll probably have to walk back to the test centre or something. Scary. But you're not going to. Good luck. And if you're watching this and going to do your test, remember to breathe. Good luck, and leave me a comment down there and tell me if you pass. Bye.